Hi, Hamish Conway here, and welcome to another episode of TACOS Tuesday. In this episode, I'm doing something a little bit different. Normally, we're talking about advertising, but we've got a partner, Crescodata, and Mark Gray, who's the managing director of Crescodata, a super smart dude. And we were talking, and he was bringing up around Agentic AI and how this is really changing the shape of things. And Mark, he shares at the start his background, his journey, and he probably skips over some of the things he has done because he's set up marketplaces and run big teams, been in e-commerce for 23 years. And with this, he's got such a crazy perspective, really good, really interesting in just what he knows and what he can see coming. And so I want you to just stick with this episode. It's a bit longer, but listen all the way through. I'm assuming here you're someone who's involved and in charge of looking after your brand on marketplaces from an e-commerce point of view. And he dives into what is really going to be important and just how shoppers are going to be buying all these agentic AI agents are going to be buying and what you can do about it now to position yourself at the front of the queue. And this is great news. Whether you are an established brand is probably more important for established brands because often, whether this is not always true, but often can be a bit slower to move. If you're a challenger brand, then it can be wide open for you as well. So agentic shopping agents aren't going to be taking over completely, but they're going to start taking a bigger chunk of things. So look, tune into this one here, and I hope you enjoy it. Hi, Hamish Conway here, and welcome to another episode of TACOS Tuesday. This is episode number 64, and with me today is the Managing Director of Crescodata, Mark Gray. Welcome, Mark.
Hey, Mish. Thanks for having me. Been following you guys for quite a while, so super excited to be on your podcast.
Excellent. Now, look, TACOS Tuesday is mostly about Amazon ads, and advertising on the Amazon platform is about getting discovered and making more sales. And this is all good, but we like to kind of mix things up a little bit there. And great to get Mark on here around what's going to be a bit of an interesting topic here that Mark was keen to kind of dig into a bit, and it's going to be around agentic AI and like shopping agents. But to give some more context to that, so Crescodata and Cellglow, we've got a partnership, and this is because Crescodata, and Mark will explain this in more detail, is about helping brands get onto marketplaces, multiple marketplaces, and connecting in with their e-commerce platforms. And the goal here is to expand their reach, whether it's in one country or multiple marketplaces, or looking at that in multiple countries. And obviously Amazon is a key part of that. And so we're all about helping brands grow and expand, and partnering with Crescodata is a great way to help our clients and people in our community do that. So that's a little bit of the context here. This is going to be quite a fascinating one. And when you hear a bit more about Mark's background, this will give more context as to why we want to be talking about agentic AI in terms of what is coming down the pipeline. So with that said, look, Mark, do you want to share with the audience a little bit about you and your background and the journey that has you being on this podcast today?
Yeah, sure, Hamish. Thank you. And thanks to the Silk Global team for this opportunity. So I've actually been involved with online e-commerce for a long time, almost 23 years now, which makes me a bit of a grandpa, I guess, in the space, even though we're all, touch wood, super young. So as you can tell from my accent, I'm originally not from here or there, originally from Colorado, but grew up there, joined the U.S. military after high school, and spent 12 years there helping within everything from drug interdiction, intelligence, and otherwise. But fast forward to where it got involved with e-commerce. Imagine 9/11 happened, and I was sitting there as a student, studying full-time, had a full-time job as well. And that happened. I was still in the reserves at the time. I got called to active duty. And what happened at that time was I had to stop my studies, and my job had to stop. So all of my income dried up. So at that time, I had only one of two decisions. Either I make money from doing nefarious things, or I can make it legitimately as an entrepreneur. So I decided at that time to start selling on eBay. So this is, 2000 October timeframe, and I started selling on eBay as just reselling products that my sister-in-law hooked me up with. So I very quickly became a Paros on eBay, and that really introduced me to the world of e-commerce, but also understanding customer service, what customers want, what they need, even though I was selling and reselling used products. So these were what's called Stamping Up products. So they're collectible items that only probably older age females might be interested in for crafting and those type of products. But they were quite collectible at the time. So rose my status from there. And then my wife and I got married, moved to the UK, ended up getting involved with e-commerce there more directly with a third-party aggregator helping merchants to sell on eBay at the time. Amazon wasn't even a thing back then.
Wow.
Back then, all they did was books, right?
Yeah.
And other third-party products. But that's what introduced myself into the e-commerce spectrum. So was a power seller to begin with on eBay. Came to the UK, got introduced to all sorts of the opportunity of e-commerce and certainly marketplaces. Fast forward again to today. So I've been in the e-commerce industry for over 23 years. I've helped launch 4 different marketplaces. So catch.com.au here in Australia, themarket.com in New Zealand, Westfield Direct in Australia, New Zealand as well, and others. So have a deep understanding and a deep love for the fact that, being on both sides, both a retailer and also on the marketplace side of data and understanding really the importance of making sure that, the data that you hold within, if you're a retailer, if you're a brand, making sure that the product information is accurate, because it's not only been important in the past with SEO, SEM, as far as from a marketing perspective, but coming into today of what we're going to talk about today of AI and making sure that your products are ready for the next generation, ready to get going. So that was a very long introduction explanation, Hamish. So back to you.
Oh, that's good. Well, I think people, get a sense that, 23 years and setting up marketplaces and being in e-commerce for a long time, you've got this perspective that many people don't. And I think that's going to be so useful. And you've seen what's been, and that helps you form, a good picture for what is coming. So you're currently at Crescodata, and I kind of touched on what Crescodata does, but I think to help give more context to what we're going to talk about, can you explain what Crescodata does in simple terms?
Yeah, very, very easily to understand. So Crescodata, we're a platform which helps retailers, brands, and merchants put their products onto as many e-commerce channels as they wish to seamlessly. So whether you're using like a platform like a website platform like Shopify, BigCommerce, Magento, Wix, whatever it might be, being able to transform your product offering from your website into all the channels and the different requirements that they have. So as an example, Amazon, as compared to Walmart, as compared to any other marketplace in the world, has different requirements. So we help to automate that and enrich your products.
Great. And there's like over 500 different marketplaces, isn't there? So that's good. So it's kind of like, some people might term Crescodata like a middleware, but it is that connecting what you've already got, getting those regulations so you can then be live and selling on these platforms. Obviously, there's a logistics piece in the mix there and some compliance, but that gives people a good sense of it. What do you consistently see in terms of some of the mistakes e-commerce brands are making when it comes to looking to sell on different marketplaces or using middleware? Like where are they kind of stumbling?
I think probably the biggest thing, Hamish, would be, I think a lot of brands try to do it ad hoc. They try to do it on their own. So they're trying to say, okay, this marketplace requires X, Y, and Z as compared to another marketplace. And they're trying to do it manually. So I think one of the biggest challenges that we solve for, but also the biggest challenges in the marketplace is that they are trying to do it on their own and trying to do it manually. So there's so many opportunities to automate and save time and money. And that's one of the biggest things. The other thing is the lost opportunity. So there's a lot of lost opportunity of not automating this, in the sense that, you have a retailer or a brand that's continually, as they do, they continually add a lot of products throughout the year. So as they add new products, there's a job or an instance that they did maybe 6 months earlier, but now it's not affecting the new products that they brought on board. So that automation piece is lost there. So I think throwing people at the problem is probably one of the biggest issues that we see of marketing teams specifically thinking that, we've solved for this issue for our website, but we're not solving it for the rest of the world. Whether it's marketplaces or whether it's third-party aggregations, through a reseller platform or otherwise, they're not solving for that. So it's that automation piece, which is really missing.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. And, the more automation people can take advantage of, obviously it's a massive reduction in resource. But so look, keen to segue into the kind of the bigger topic here. And at the Retail Fest earlier this year in May, we were on a panel together, and you were starting to talk about agentic AI or shopping agents, and that grabbed a lot of the audience's attention. And I was looking the other day, McKinsey Consulting did a report forecasting that by 2030 that agentic AI will be generating $5 trillion in annual sales, and $1 trillion of that coming out of the USA. So it's a hot topic, and there's a lot of debate around it. But even, for many people, and even look myself, I'm no expert in this by any stretch. And so can you just even define what is agentic AI and shopping agents, and to give some clarity here in terms of what we're going to be talking about?
Sure. So again, agentic AI is totally new. So this is something that, so no offense, you took it on board of like, nobody knows what's happening, right? It's very new. This is something that's just happened at the beginning of 2025. Definitions vary, but the core idea is that the systems can plan, reason, and really adapt to act towards more of like the goals of the human interactions. So to put that into perspective, agentic AI is looking at when you're online, when you're shopping, when you're looking for something, it is the ability to be able to take the human interaction out of the picture. So when you're shopping, to say, I'm looking for a vacuum cleaner, for instance, it's jumping to conclusions is what I'm saying. So it's just saying, we know enough about you and about your shopping behavior and about your demographic or who you are to jump to conclusions of what we're going to serve up to you as the results for what you may or may not be shopping for. That's very generic as far as agentic AI opportunities. So to just kind of put it into context, so let's look at Amazon, right? So Amazon, as an example, Amazon has launched 2 programs recently. One is called RUFUS, which you and your merchants would be very familiar with. So RUFUS is a generative AI tool, which essentially is more of like an assistant tool, which helps. It's an app which helps answer questions and compares products essentially and gives personalized feedback on what somebody might be searching for directly, right?
Yeah. So it's like I think the key word there is assistant, right? That's going, hey, here's what is providing recommendations and maybe filtering some of the data for you. So as like an assistant. Okay.
Correct.
That word just stood out
to
me.
Then fast forward. So today, as of April of this year, Amazon launched what's called Buy For Me. Buy For Me is very different from RUFUS. So RUFUS is very enclosed. It's just for Amazon, right? It's very enclosed. It'll give you resources and information just on products within the Amazon ecosystem. The Buy For Me is now a situation where they're reaching out beyond that. So they're now saying, we're now becoming a shopping agent. So I'm hopefully answering your question earlier, what a shopping agent is. Yeah. Buy For Me is now an opportunity from Amazon where they're saying, listen, it may not be available on Amazon. That doesn't matter. We're going to go out to the greater realms of the world, of the e-commerce ecosystem, and find your product for you. It's not sold by Amazon. They're not even associated with us. We're now going to allow you to buy this product via Amazon and then bring it back into our ecosystem, right? And our payment methods and our feedback system and our return system. That's really powerful. That's really crazy, isn't it?
Oh, it's
Think about
amazing.
that.
And I think, one of the things is, particularly in the US, with consumers who have been buying on Amazon for years, and talk to friends over there, and they go like, 11 times a week probably I buy something on Amazon. They've got so much data, they probably know more about your shopping, or the algorithm does know more about your shopping behaviors than you do. So therefore, that making those assumptions about what would be what you would like is all there. They've got all of that information. So it's interesting, Amazon just wanting to make sure they're a key part of this next step in the journey.
But it's really around, the key there is around even products that they don't own.
That they don't own, which is hardly, I'm surprised there are any that they don't sell, given there's given the millions of them.
That's the piece that's really interesting around Agentic AI and shopping agents. So to go back to your original question, we'll go back to this. So your original question, shopping agents is the ability to be able to buy a product as long as it's online, being able to buy a product where you set the terms as the consumer. So myself, I come in and I say, hey, I want to buy XYZ. I'm happy to pay XYZ. And you go out, Mr. Shopping Agent, for me and find the product for me. And I don't really care where it comes from, but this is my intention. My intention is to buy this product at this price. You come back to me. I'm giving you all of my information. I'm giving you my payment details. I'm giving you my shipping details. I'm giving you the requirements around what I'm willing to pay for the product. It might be a band. It might be I'm willing to pay between $110 and $180. I'm giving you my band. I'm also giving you my requirements on the bare minimum of what I want to buy. And oh, by the way, here's my shipping requirements, et cetera, et cetera. So it's encompassing all of that, which is really interesting. It's encompassing the whole buyer experience. And oh, by the way, payment methods. Do I want to do buy now, pay later? Do I want to pay cash? Do I want to drop on delivery? Whatever it might be. All of those things included. You go out, Mr. Shopping Agent. It might be Amazon, it might be eBay, it might be anybody else, it might be Google. Go out, find the product, and bring it back to me. And oh, by the way, it's automated because I've already put the credentials in. Enough about me, but I've already put these credentials in of like what I'm willing to pay. If you don't mind, Hamish, can I bring a personal example here?
Yeah,
this might be a good opportunity for that. So I'm a twin. So originally from the U.S., I have a twin brother who lives in Washington, D.C. He had a very specific requirement about 2 months ago. And this is a great Amazon example. So he had a laptop that he needed to buy, which is very specific. He wanted a specific color because Denver Broncos fans, he wanted orange color. He wanted all these specifications. He couldn't find it anywhere. He looked online for months and months, could not find it. He was one of the first people. He's very progressive. But anyway, so he went on the Buy For Me program on Amazon, put his credentials in. He said, I'm willing to pay X and X to buy this laptop and go find it. Here's my specifications. Almost 4 weeks later, he got an automated email saying, your item's being shipped. It's going to be delivered tomorrow. The funny thing about that is it was being shipped not from Amazon. So he put this information in Amazon, Buy For Me, put his credit card details in. It was being delivered from Canada, from a third-party merchant on Best Buy Canada, and delivered, free shipping, everything coming across the border, all the new tariffs, everything included, delivered to his door the next day. That's crazy.
It is,
so,
isn't it? Yeah.
He bought on Amazon, but it wasn't from Amazon. So explain that to me, Hamish.
So it's interesting. Well, which is kind of as I think about that example, what sort of products does a shopping agent lend itself to? Like I've heard some examples in around like travel and flights, right? But we keep it to physical products, e-commerce. Do you think this, I look at that and go, that's quite a specific technical piece of technology and maybe, a little bit more expensive. But do you think there's any kind of products that are more susceptible or more likely for people to, adopt this AI agent or not? Like what's your kind of take on that?
Yeah, I think there's kind of two things happening. So let's go back to Amazon as an example, particularly in the US. It's happening here in Australasia as well, but Amazon's been very clever in the sense of like resupplying products, right? So saying, hey, you're buying toilet paper consumables, right? So let's replenish those. Let's automate them. That's been happening for a number of years. That's well positioned in the US with, it's just well documented there. But then we look at one-offs, right? Of everything happening with like gifting and around need to buy products. So that's where it gets a little bit different. So I think the automation piece is already kind of solved, and that's going to happen. But the piece I think we're talking about today is more of like the ad hoc need for products ongoing. So how does Amazon or others solve for that? So it's looking at Amazon's done a great job of, you like this, therefore we think you might like this. And they've had some great AI tools internally. But I think what's going to fast forward into the future is the situation of, again, fast forward to 2 or 3 years from now, looking at it of like, hey, I need to buy a product for my wife for her birthday. It's now probably going to be solving for that. Right? And it's not going to be on Amazon. It could be, but it's going to be by default, whoever my favorite shopping partner is. It might be Amazon. It might be somebody else. It might be eBay. It might be somebody else. Another particular site, like I just have a generic Gemini account via Google who I'm like, hey, I just shop everywhere. So now Gemini, from an AI perspective, is going to come back and say, we have this list of 40 websites which we think are we know already your wife's birthday is in April. So therefore, we're going to offer up these considerations for you via Gemini. It's not even a marketplace, right? They essentially become a marketplace themselves by default as an AI solution to be like, we are now offering these opportunities for you to buy for your wife these products. And oh, by the way, historically, we may or may not know that here's your price point. So I'm not trying to be cheap. I love my wife. I'm going to buy some great things for her, but they may know the price point there, right? Of like, oh, here's kind of maybe an excess opportunity for you at a discount. You can now buy this product for her because we know you typically spend between 150 to 200. Here's one for 250, but we're going to discount it for you to meet your price point. Think about that. Think about the marketing opportunity of ability to for a brand to be able to upsell and to kind of cross-pollinate there. So, and I think there's some interesting things around, recently, like Walmart just launched an OpenAI tool, I think about 2 weeks ago. ChatGPT, they now have connected to Etsy. I mean, it's just sky's the limit, right? So
Etsy and Shopify as well. So it is. So we get it's definitely changing. So how do brands, so for people listening here, might be going, oh, this is exciting from a consumer point of view, but from a brand point of view, we're going, how do we attract these agents to buy our products? How do brands prepare for what is coming?
Oh my goodness. I mean, I think it's something that we've probably, us in the industry, have been talking about for years and years, but now's the time. It's all about enrichment. It's all about product enrichment, making sure that your products are discoverable. So the challenge is, right, of a lot of brands today, brand owners and resellers, I think honestly have kind of been skinny by a little bit of like, hey, we're going to do the bare minimum of what Amazon asks. We're just going to kind of give the bare minimums. We're going to kind of do that. The playing field has changed. I think everyone now, they have to supply everything as much as they can. And the good part of that is it's only going to help them. It's only going to help them sell more products, become discoverable. So fast forward into a world where it's not just Amazon's going to be a huge part of that. Don't get me wrong, Amazon's going to be absolutely a huge part of that. But there's going to be other players in the market as well, right? So as long as you have, for the products and brands that you own, as long as you've pre-purposed that and made it as available and accessible as possible to the world, it doesn't matter if it's Amazon or Gemini or via Google or whoever else. People are going to be able to access it, and that's how you're going to convert. It almost goes back to the old school SEO. I know you're from a marketing background yourself, Hamish, but looking back to the paid Google ads and, SEM to compare to SEO, right? SEO is like essentially free marketing. Enable ourselves as brands to give as much information out there. We're going to be discovered.
Yeah.
That's the new world. That's the new world. It's not, I don't think it's going to be necessarily a pay for play. It's going to be a pay for enrichment and content. And how do you do that, right?
Yeah.
And I think how you do that is genuinely going back to what we're talking about today of like, who do you partner with to make sure that you have that availability to get your product enrichment out there? Like, how do you get your products out to the rest of the world to say, hey, I may have one or two products, I may have 1,000 products, doesn't matter. How do I get this information out to the rest of the world so that's picked up?
And some of that enrichment to give people a sense of, well, what does enrichment mean? Even, I mean, for a lot of people listening to this will be Amazon, and you look on, when you go into Seller Central, for example, you've got all the fields there, and it can be down to which, it might be around which gender, which age, use cases, what surface can this go on, like how the size of it, it's like just thinking as specific as you can on there's fields for all sorts of attributes, and you want to be utilizing all of those. Is what there's this data piece. There's also the structure of where you put products. What is it, the taxonomy? But what is the framework of your catalog that is logical as well in terms of where products are. So thinking through that, and there could be naming conventions as well that help with all of that. Then you've got the other side, which is like a content side, which could be visual, because also these agents will be looking at visual, not just the actual data. And even, I know RUFUS, albeit as a shopping assistant, it is looking at video. So if you've got a video showing use cases and people, and it could be user generated content on there as well, but showing people using it or giving testimonials, and that sort of content there all feeds into the mix. So you've got a kind of like a hard data, like text based, and then there is the other content side of things. And I mean, I look at, and you'll know better than I on this, but my take is that Amazon is almost the benchmark for enrichment around all the various attributes and content that you can have in there compared to many of the other platforms. Would you agree with that? Is it like with Crescodata? I could be wrong there. You'll know exactly.
I'd agree with that. I think that Amazon's a great starting point for if you are good on Amazon, you're pretty much good at the moment.
Yeah.
At the moment, you're good for the rest of the world. However, things are changing. So I would suggest that it's not just being ready from an Amazon A+ and content point of view for not just products, but also marketing. You need to be ready across your own website as well.
Yeah.
So whatever you're doing content-wise on Amazon, investing monies with the likes of yourselves or however you're promoting yourselves, definitely double down on that content enrichment piece, because what's going to happen is over time is it's again, it goes back to the SEO perspective of if you make yourself more findable, you're going to be more successful. And the more information that you offer, as you just mentioned, the more that you offer, the better.
And a hot tip on this as well, because the other thing is thinking like your customer. And there's a great website called answerthepublic.com. Go check that out. That's looking at autocomplete data from searches, from Google. And that's what your customers are thinking or asking as well. So literally having those questions answered in your enrichment is going to form part of that as well. So you do need to do the work. And this is work that is worthwhile, and even if it doesn't pay off the minute you do it, it's part of a key part of the longer game there. So just a little segue on this. It is doing some research for this here. There's people go, well, I don't want an agent to go shopping for me. I like shopping. I get that. It makes me really happy, and I get that dopamine hit. And then it had me just thinking about in selling that people buy on emotion and justify with logic. Like as humans, we're flawed like that. We'll pay a premium price for something for a brand because we think of status, or there's like social proof that this is who I am as a person. And there's all these emotional drivers, and then we kind of back it up with some logic to kind of justify. I'm going, well, surely that's not going to change, right? Like humans, they want to feel good about what's been purchased, and they don't want to necessarily have their agent off, shopping for something they get it and go, I wouldn't be seen dead with that in public, for all sorts of reasons. So I thought, it's going, what are your thoughts on that kind of topic there and how things might play?
So I think if we look at the demographics of where new shoppers are coming from, obviously a bit younger than us, but then also we look at the historical online shopping experience, and then to your point of like the physical, which still exists and it will exist online, of heading into bricks and mortars, right? So that I don't think it's ever going to be taken away from the bricks and mortar point of view. There is that emotion, that upsell opportunity from interacting with people physically. I don't think that's going to go away, and that still has relevance. However, I do think that there's a little bit of the instance of, if we go back to the inception of online e-commerce, what was it back in, let's look, 20 years ago, right? The inception. And this goes back to my experience as well of like eBay, right? It's the experience of winning something. What am I winning? How am I interacting? How do I feel that I've won something, that I've gotten value, that I've won out in some way? Whether it's I beat somebody in a competition, whether it's an auction, or I've experienced a situation where I'm on the cusp of something big or interesting, or a product that I really want, or just generally I've online in an experience executed something where I feel like I've gotten value. So I don't think that's going to go away. And I think agentic AI is going to only help with that. I think it's going to really supercharge and probably bring us back to a perspective. Because if you think about like from an Amazon specifically, an e-commerce perspective, everything nowadays is more like set price, set expectations, buy it now, right? I think that's going to be put on its head a little bit. I think that we may go back to a situation where, going back to the experience of like bidding, shopping, because agentic AI tools are going to allow us to do that. Of like, hey, do you realize, yes, this product's available in Australia or the UK or the US right now, but you realize if you buy this product from Turkey, yes, maybe there's a shipping context. It might take 4 extra days to get it, but it's the exact same product. Get on it. You save $20.
Yeah.
I think that's going to happen. I think the other thing that's going to happen is a little bit more of the going back to the situation of online. There's just going to be a lot more information available now, and it's forced. We can't avoid it. Anybody that's listening to this, it's unavoidable. So that goes back to the point of like enrichment, and like as much as you can surface and give information proactively, the better you are. As a brand, if you're a brand owner, the worst thing you can do right now is sit back on your laurels and be like, the world's going to pass us by. This is going to happen. This is a phase. My biggest contribution to probably this podcast would be, do not do that. Be proactive. You need to own your voice. You need to own it. If you're a brand owner, you need to go out proactively and say, you know what? I'm going to give as much information as I can. Yeah. It's not just about price. It's everything about the brand and everything that you own as a brand owner to go out there with. Because if you don't do it, somebody else is going to. And the waters become more muddy over time if you don't do that. So somebody from, I use the example of Turkey or UK or otherwise, if you don't do it, they're going to do it. And do you want them to own that messaging?
You lose control of your brand.
Yeah. Do you want to own it? And it goes back to, Hamish, you and So Global, the great thing you guys do is it's helping to express it across Amazon and other channels. So let's own that. And I think that's ultimately like one of the biggest things I can press upon. Hopefully I answered your question.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of moving parts, right? And I think one of the things that like there will need to be more transparency as well, because you can't fake scarcity. It would need to be, well, this is actually only how many units are left, for example, or social proof is going to have to be demonstrated in multiple ways that an agent could pick it up as well. So I think it's going to be fascinating how this plays out. And I mean, one of the things is like trust. I mean, Amazon in the States wins consumer trust awards all the time. And this is, they've been working really hard on cleaning up their reviews. So people are trusting their reviews. people really like the fast fulfillment. And that's going to be hard for people to replicate. I mean, Amazon's got massive infrastructure there and building it flat out in Australia as well. So I think Amazon is still going to win a lot of the time. They're not actually, Amazon isn't letting Agentic AI into Amazon at the moment. Like they've sent a cease and desist to Perplexity AI. So they're trying to keep people out and keep control of this journey as well. So it's kind of an interesting dynamic just to see how this is going to play out. Look, and so I guess there's things like you've got bigger brands, you've got bigger established brands, you've got more challenger brands. If you're talking to a bigger established brand, are they better placed for this now? Or is this a great opportunity for challenger brands to kind of sneak under the radar and start to eat the lunch of bigger brands?
Huge opportunity. I honestly think, Hamish, it's who acts first is going to get the first mover's advantage. And it's anything, it's normal business 101. So whoever acts first, and I think, unfortunately, historically, we've seen a lot of the bigger brands take their time and not react. So I think for those challenger brands, this is a big opportunity to jump into the deep end. It's not going to cost them anything outside of investment in something they should be doing anyway, as far as content. Creating more rich content that they can push out to the rest of the world, right? To sell the product and offering. We will see, I guarantee, delay in bigger brands jumping on this. And that's a huge opportunity for them to go in, because it's not just about the content of their products. And it's not just about, and I have to emphasize on this, it's not about pricing anymore. Everybody in the past, I think we need to get away from everybody's mindset of like, it's price. It's not price. It's about being served up the marketing opportunity, right? So it doesn't matter if you're the cheapest. If you are not discoverable, who cares?
Yeah.
So it's about being discoverable, right? If I'm searching for a product, I see you, and you could be the most expensive. You could be the cheapest. Doesn't matter. You're in front of me right now. I'm a buying person. I'm going to act or be influenced by you to act in the future. So if you're not in front of me, it doesn't matter if you're the cheapest, most expensive. That has nothing to do with it. Price, I think, it's important, but it's almost a little bit out of the door now. It's more of like, how are you discoverable? And so agentic AI shopping agents are key with that. So if you invest now, and it's not a huge investment, it's not a huge uplift. So if you invest a little bit now to get ahead of all those other competitors and the big brands, you will win out. And it's not just around, again, price and all that, but it's around reviews. Like, all this stuff can be pulled in now authentically.
So, like, being on multiple marketplaces can make a difference, because you've got multiple touch points. You've got reviews on Amazon, you've got reviews on Maya or Walmart, and then this all just adds to the credibility of it. And when the agents are looking for it, well, here it is in 30 different places, so that discoverability piece is kind of amplified through being in multiple marketplaces rather than just your own website. Would you agree? Is that kind of a reason to be doing it?
Absolutely. So what you as a retailer or brand owner needs to focus on is, like, we all have a certain band limit of like what we can spend ourselves on advertising, right? We can only spend so much with Google or Meta or whoever it might be. The biggest opportunity with marketplaces is they have a huge treasure chest of money that they spend with marketing teams, right? And they go outbound. They market your products on their behalf. But they only make money when the product sells.
Yes.
So the good thing for you as a seller is that, my opinion would be, sell as many places as you can, because it doesn't cost you $1 until you sell a product.
Yeah.
So why would you not capitalize on their ad spend and just, and to be fair, yes, we want to drive people back to our own websites, all that. That's great. That goes back to the piece of like enriching ourselves, make sure that we have the great products. But why not disseminate that to the rest of the world and make sure that no matter how everyone's searching, whatever price point, wherever they're searching from, that you're discoverable? Why would you not do that?
Yeah, 100%. Excellent. Well, look, Mark, again, we're going to have to do a part 2 on this, I reckon, in 6 months. We're going to go what of what was speculated has come to be. So that's been fascinating there. So I think the key takeaways in terms of people that have been listening is enrichment of your data. And so that is like being specific with all the attributes and the details there, and even around the use cases or answering those questions that are likely to get answered. And then if you can, be in multiple places, so that data in multiple places, and using middleware like Crescodata to automate and speed that up. Makes a lot of sense. And what else would you say in terms of a key takeaway?
I think spot on. I think all those things, I think that in the past, it used to be a bit of a conundrum of like, do we spread ourselves too thin? I think nowadays it's like spread yourself thin, go everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's using to go back to you, like in your great team and So Global. Let's make sure that we are advertising ourselves as best we can across as many places as possible, whether it's your own website, marketplace. And again, if you get back to the core, it's all about, I think it's kind of like self-help, right? If we take care of ourselves, if we know that we're feeding ourselves nutrients and everything that we should be doing, we're working out, we're doing all the right things for ourselves, the natural output is going to be health, right? It's the same with e-commerce businesses. If you were investing in yourself of like, hey, we're investing in quality data, making sure that it's not just price, it's not shipping. If we have all of our ducks in a row and we're investing in the quality data and we put it out to the rest of the world, to the likes of yourselves and other channels, you're going to be discovered. And especially nowadays, fast forward to Agentic world, you are going to be discovered. You're going to be leaps and bounds and ahead of everyone else. You're going to succeed. So that's the exciting part.
Yeah, excellent. So it is, don't sit on the sidelines, get in the game now, because it is coming, and whether we like it or not. Amazing. So look, if people did want to connect with Crescodata, what's the best way for people to do that?
Yeah, so just go to our website, crescodata.com, and there's a couple ways there to connect with us, whether it's, if you're interested in any of our platforms or just information, there's a lot of great tools there. And conversely, we have some great partners that we connect with, So Global and others. So connect with us and happy to help you out.
It's good. I'll put the address in the show notes as well. And just one last thing. I mean, with all the AI side of things going on, it's just business in general. Like, what's one thing that you're personally working on from a skills point of view right now?
My goodness, myself, I think it's more of just keeping up with stuff, right? So if we look at just AI shopping agents, which what we were focused on today, the very first shopping agent launched in February 2025. So that's only a couple months ago, right? 15 shopping agents have launched since February.
Oh, right. Okay. Right. Yes.
So that's a short period of time, right? So we're sitting here in November. So within a very short period of time, there's been a huge jumping in of operators and functionality and offerings. So what I would say, and what I spend the most of my time on, is just keeping up with it, right? So again, I could spend all my time doing that, but I think my main focus to everyone would be like, focus on the basics. Get your enrichment right, get your basics right, and whatever happens, there could be 100,000 next year that launch. Doesn't matter. As long as your products are right, your offerings right, your enrichment's right, you're going to do well. And, focus on partners that are going to help you do that in the short term. Yeah. So excellent. That'd be my takeaway.
Nice. Excellent. Well, good stuff, Mark. Really appreciate you coming on, and such a depth of experience overall in e-commerce and in particular and around, we're all learning and around agentic AI, but I think you've got a really interesting perspective. And as I said, in 6 months' time, we'll redo this and see where things have landed. So thanks so much. Really appreciate it. And thanks everyone for tuning in to TACOS Tuesday. All the best.